Have you ever felt like your favorite app knows you, maybe a little too well? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on that magic. We're diving headfirst into the world of data science to figure out how companies seem to read your mind.
Right? It's a question we've all asked ourselves. How in the world did Netflix know you were in the mood for that exact show? Or how did Amazon just happen to recommend that one thing you were thinking about buying? The answer, my friends, isn't magic. It's data science, and it has totally reshaped our world.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The Harvard Business Review famously called being a data scientist the sexiest job of the 21st century. And you have to ask, why? Well, because in a world that is practically drowning in data, these are the folks who can actually make sense of all that noise and turn it into gold.
So let's get down to it. What exactly is data science? The best way to think about it is like this. A data scientist is part data detective and part business translator. They're the ones sifting through all the digital clues and then explaining to everyone else what it all means for the real world.
Okay, so here's the more official definition. At its heart, data science is all about taking raw, messy, real-world information and using this powerful cocktail of statistics, computer programming, and just good old-fashioned business sense to solve some really tough problems.
Now, this is where a lot of people get tripped up, so let's clear it up. What's the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist? Think of it this way. A data analyst looks backward. They analyze past data to tell you what happened. A data scientist, on the other hand, uses that data to build models that predict what will happen. It's literally the difference between writing a history report and building a crystal ball.
And that ability, that power to predict the future, well, that's precisely why data science is so incredibly valuable. We're talking about companies paying top dollar to get answers to some fundamental billion-dollar questions.
And it really all boils down to these three steps. The journey starts with understanding what happened. That's descriptive analytics. Then it gets a little deeper. Why did it happen? Trying to find the real cause. But the final step, predictive analytics, that's the holy grail. That's building a model to forecast what's going to happen next.
And of course, a skill that valuable, it shows up in the paycheck. A median salary of $126,000 in the US shows you just how high the demand is. But, and this is a big but, there's a fascinating catch.
Get this, a shocking 87% of data science projects never actually make it out of the lab. They never get used in the real world. So wait a minute, we have this incredibly valuable skill set with huge salaries, but almost 9 out of 10 projects are failures? What's the deal?
Well, this quote from former CTO John Ackerd just hits the nail on the head. The problem usually isn't the math or the coding skills, it's the process. A lot of teams are brilliant at building models, but they have no real roadmap for managing the project from a simple idea to a finished working product.
So, what is that roadmap? Well, in the data world, we call it the data science lifecycle. It's the structured process that successful teams follow to turn all that raw data into something that actually makes a real impact. And here's a pretty simple version of it. You always start with the problem, the why. Why are we even doing this? Then comes the detective work. You gather the data, you clean it up. After that, you build your model. But then, and this is the crucial part, you have to actually deploy it, put it into a real system. And it doesn't even stop there. You have to keep monitoring it to make sure it's still working right.
And for every single one of those phases, there's a specialized tool for the job. You'll see things like SQL for pulling data, Python libraries like Pandas for cleaning it up, Tableau for making cool charts, and these super powerful frameworks like TensorFlow for actually building the predictive models.
Okay, this visual right here is key. On the left, you've got the old way of doing things, this long, rigid process. That's where projects get stuck for months and months, and by the end, nobody even wants the thing you built. But on the right, that's the modern, agile way. Teams work in these short, fast bursts. They build a simple version, they get feedback, and they improve it over and over. This is how you avoid becoming part of that 87% failure statistic.
And this quote just perfectly sums up the entire point. You can build the most brilliant, most accurate model in the world, but if it just sits on your laptop, it's completely worthless. Its value is only unlocked when it's out there in the real world actually being used.
All right, so we know what data science is. We know how the process works. Now for the fun part. Let's look at where you're already seeing it in your daily life. And trust me, once you start looking, you'll see it absolutely everywhere.
I mean, seriously, Every time Amazon suggests a product, or your bank instantly flags a weird-looking charge on your card, that's data science. When Spotify makes you that Discover Weekly playlist that's just perfect, data science. It's optimizing Uber's delivery routes, telling factories when a machine is about to break, and even helping doctors personalize treatments.
But here is probably the most legendary, and let's be honest, kind of startling example of its power. Years ago, based only on a teenage girl's changing shopping habits, like buying unscented lotion and certain vitamins, Target's algorithm gave her a pregnancy prediction score. It started mailing her coupons for baby stuff, which is how her dad found out. It's just a wild story that shows how deeply these models can see into our lives.
You know, when you really boil it all down, companies have always wanted to predict the future. That desire hasn't changed at all. It's just that the tools have changed. They used to hire fortune tellers, now they hire data scientists.
And that really leaves us with one final big thought. That crystal ball that people have been searching for centuries. It's finally real. It's not made of glass, though. It's made of data. And the biggest question for our future isn't whether it works or not. The real question is, who gets to look into it?